All right, all right, all right. Here we go. Okay, welcome back, everybody. If this is the first time you're tuning in, this is pretty much the command brief for FP. And if you're in here, it means you're part of the momentum of forward progress. I mean, we're trying to get things going, we're trying to get things set up. We want to be one of the biggest, well known orgs in the verse, but it only happens with you. So I am one of your high council members. My name is LT underscore R33 in the verse, but as you know me as a streamer, LT Adventures. Um, Again, this is our second command brief, and forward progress isn't just a slogan; it's a standard. We're always making progress. So this afternoon or morning or night, wherever you are, it's just not another update. It's another step in building something bigger than any one, member. It's bigger than any one squad. This is where direction is set, discipline is sharpened, and the mission gets its edge. Uh, I want to just say that for anybody that is showing up and gaming, whether you're in here for an hour or you stop in once a week, we really do appreciate it. We know life gets hectic and busy. We don't care if you're PvP focused or PvE focused, a day one player or a veteran player. There's a place for you in FP. As long as you're willing to be a part of the team, then we want you. Um, I will say this, we've got a lot of military folks in our Discord. We got a lot of people that speak their minds. That being said, there are politics that are spoken from time to time in our Discord. And as a veteran, I do think that we need to have these open, lanes of communication with one another. I think because I don't know, 2 years ago, it was like, you can't say that. Oh, you'll offend somebody. Oh, you'll do this. That was a problem. That was a huge problem for me. Because here I am, like, wait a minute, aren't we in America? Isn't there a constitution? Don't we have First Amendment right? You know, that doesn't mean you have free reign to be able to talk and speak however you like. You have to be respectful and mindful of others. I don't care what walk of life you're from, to be honest with you, like your religion, your color, your skin, your culture, whatever. If it doesn't gel well with what forward progress is all about, you don't have a place here, plain and simple. Forward progress doesn't bend for you as a person, okay? It stays true to itself, okay? And that being said, there's general rules that we abide by, and that's respecting one another. It gets to a point where we can't talk politics, then we shut it down. This isn't a place for politics, place for gaming, hanging out, and having a good time. But if you walk into the Discord and people are talking politics, you know, be mindful of where you are and what channel you are in. The war room is kind of like walking into a bar. Like you're going in at 1 o'clock in the morning. Everybody's sloshed and just they got no filters on. That doesn't give them free reign to just like blatantly say racial slurs or disrespect or any of that stuff. That's immediate ban in our Discord. We don't allow that kind of stuff. Okay, but if you hear something because you don't like that, oh, they're not on my team. You're a Bills fan and I'm a Dolphins fan? No, we can't get along. I don't want to hear about that. You know, that's where you gotta, grow up a little bit. Get over yourself. Okay. So if that's not a place that you want a safe place where everything is sheltered and you don't want to see the world around you, don't sign up for FP because we're not about that business. We're about talking logically, talking about facts. And if you're not talking logically and you're not talking about facts and you're talking a bunch of BS, expect to be handled correctly because mistruths, if you misspeak, it's one thing. But if you're sitting there blatantly just spewing bullshit, we're not going to put up with it. Plain and simple. There's no place for that. There's no place in society for that. I think we're finally figuring that out, thank God. You know, there's no place in my mind where you think it's okay to make a child decide to be a man or a woman as a child. I'm going to throw that out there. I don't care when you're an adult and you make adult decisions and you decide to go and do something to your body, like getting a tattoo. That's your business. I don't care. I don't need to like bend my way of thinking to fit your delusions, though, either. Men's bathroom are for men, and women's bathrooms for a woman. And the only passage you're going to get in my mind is if you're born a hermaphrodite with both genitalias, then by all means, you have the right to be able to decide what you want to do, you know? But if you're somebody that transitioned, I'm sorry, but you have to abide by your biological makeup. And that's the way that I am. That doesn't mean I don't want to, speak to you, treat you with respect, treat you like a human being. No, it just means that I'm not going to buy what you're selling, which is Fantasyland. I'm not going to do it. And if you try talking to me about like why this is appropriate, I'm going to tell you at least 100 different reasons why it's not. And if that, doesn't sink in, then maybe we should avoid that topic and agree to disagree altogether, you know. But that's who I am, and I'm not going to let somebody who, whatever their makeup is, in a disagreement, be disrespected in our Discord. It's not going to happen. Okay, but if you want my open and honest opinion about FP, that is probably like one of the biggest topics that we end up speaking about are one, the fraud that goes around in our country. We're speaking about that. We don't like it, There's good and bad actors in all walks of life. Okay. I believe Republican and Democrats have their both sides of like, bad actors. I just think that when we need to sink our teeth into things, when things get a little bit too out of hand, and we can have those discussions, but that's not what we're all about. Okay. Um, Next thing, other than that, because I need people to understand everybody's welcome in FP. Everybody is, even though like, oh, how can I be welcomed? You don't even respect my way of thinking. Look, if you're that type of person, you think I need to respect your way of thinking. No, this FP is not the place for you. Okay, I'm not going to buy your Kool-Aid, your Fantasyland. I'm not going to do it. That's plain and simple. But I will accept you as a person. I will treat you as a person. I will treat you as a player, and so on and so forth. I will do that, no problem. And I can even be your friend. Guess what? I have no problems being friends with anybody. I was in the military. It's a melting pot of culture. It's a beautiful thing. It's just at the end of the day, I don't want people that are men in women's sports. I don't want people that are women or men that transitioned in my boy or girls locker room where they can get changed in men's locker rooms, women's locker rooms. I don't want kids to be exposed to that kind of behavior. And I don't want them walking into a bathroom where my children are. They're designated there for that purpose. And even still, there are bad actors who go into men and women's bathrooms still, but we need to be able to put up safeguards as best as we can to eliminate the risk. And I'm sorry, but there's more harm than good. I personally have experienced something like that where there was a grown man with a dog in the woman's bathroom claiming that he was a woman, saying that he had a right to be there, staring down women in a women's locker room at the YMCA. We terminated our membership that day. I'm sorry. No go. Anyways, keep bashing on one subject of what we're here to actually discuss, but I just wanted to like, put that out there so people understand, like, let's take a look at our rules. Okay. We do have these open conversations, and they need to happen. That's the bottom line. Um, yeah. All right, I'm going to pull this up on the screen real quick. The goal isn't to make people feel uncomfortable or feel unsafe. The goal is to, harness reality in a sense, and be able to have real conversations and not no more, you know, um, playing with fantasy any longer. Call it for what it is. If you don't like that, then don't come to FP. Uh, all right, we're gonna share screen. Okay, so here we go. No discrimination of any kind will not be tolerated. Spot on. Respect others' views. Okay, political and religious topics may only be discussed respectfully, and only members with mutual agree to an open discussion. So henceforth, what that there is for is people can talk about religions and politics, like I stated, but we need to be mindful of the people that we're around. If somebody feels uncomfortable, doesn't want to continue the conversation, and makes it known, right? Then one, go to another chat room where you can continue to have your conversation away from that person, or politely ask that person to choose another room because if you're in the war room, as I stated, that might not be the place to be hanging out in because the war room is kind of like um, very open dialogue. But if there's something that is overboard, and people are like blatantly, having hate speech uh, with religious or political topics about something, that's the next one that we're going into. No hate speech, right? Harassment and bullying. Okay. We don't allow that kind of stuff, right? So if you step away and that person continues to pursue you, that's a no go. Depending on the severity of the situation, we'll probably ban them, or we'll have a conversation, and we might ask for your input on what do you think might be appropriate during that situation. We'll ask all parties that are involved in what they seem to. So if it's a one-sided situation, we usually try to take care of things in house though, where people can talk like adults, okay, amongst each other and try to figure it out themselves. All right. This is where I end up. We have a lot of people that enjoy, and more, marijuana is becoming more legalized and so on and so forth. But we do have members that are recovering alcoholics and drug addicts. Okay. So we need to be very cognizant of what we're talking about and who we're talking about, and who's around. Okay. I personally do believe that marijuana is probably a better alternative for pain and sleep and so on and so forth. It has good properties, and that's my personal opinion. And but I don't partake. Okay, but I'm not against it. What I am against is like the glamorization of the use of it. Again, be mindful. Um, all right, fair gameplay. All right, we don't allow anybody that's a hacker in here. Okay, we're in test phase, so testing out an exploit and going through the exploit, exposing the exploit, cool beans. Once we get out of test and you're cheating, you got no place with us. You're gonna be a cheater. You're gonna cheese the game. We don't want to play with you. We don't want to have the stench of being associated with cheating. Okay, we want fair, gameplay all the way around. All right. This respecting others and voice, so like be mindful. If somebody's got something like, hey, we're squad alpha and we're doing, bounty missions. Okay. And you go in there and you're just talking about your day, that's not cool. All right. Um know what's going on. Some people are, dug into the game, and if you're there to game, like be like, hey, can I join? Or maybe even message the people that are in party. Okay. Moderation and escalation, yes. I will tell you that repeating any of the violations, if we gave you a break, depending on how close, you decided to continue to be a dumbass, we'll probably remove you. We'll probably vote to have you removed from the server. Depending on the situation. Again, situation always dictates what we're going to do, and how you react to that situation also determines how we're going to do things. All right. Um, Again, try to figure this out amongst each other. We're all adults, big boys and girls. So if you got an issue, you need to take it to the person you have an issue with and make sure that they're aware you have a problem with them and they're aware of the issue. Okay. Uh, yeah, timeout bans. These are all the rule violations of what we can do depending on the severity. Again, and then this is for FP PMC. This is for us and Star Citizen. You guys, all right? Be familiarized, okay, with the rules. Be familiarized with your roles and responsibilities, especially if you're leader. Learn the overall purpose and functioning of each channel. Like that way, you can guide people too. Uh, Everybody is treated equally in this Discord. Nobody like if you're a member, everybody's treated the same across the board. Doesn't matter if you're a veteran, doesn't matter if you're day one, everybody's treated the same. Okay. All right, moving on. Okay, so I'm thinking we need to refocus recruitment. Like again, uh, we're bringing in some people, but we really need to get everybody all hands on deck. Recruiting. We can't build. Okay, we can't even build a village. And we can't build a village, if we don't have like the steady members, and it takes everybody. And, like, bring in your players, and this is the reason why you want to be part of FP. Okay, you got people in here that actually care about the Discord, care about you as a player, right? Want to harvest like pretty much like a awesome place for everybody to hang out. Go out and do whatever you want to do, get organized, meet, mingle, with like-minded people. The problem is that, like me, for example, I can only be on so much. My day to day, like I got so much going on and a lot of things coming at me, and my, real day to day, that I can't focus all the time in FP. It's bad, right? And that's where I lean on, the other high council members to keep things popping and rolling and going and grooving, you know. And I'm hoping that nobody ever has to go through what I've gone through in my life, because honestly, it's like the worst thing that a human being could possibly go through, other than finding out like you have something like a death in the family, or you know uh, critical disease or something. I've been fighting for my children for almost 3 years. I've had everything stripped away from me, and I will tell you, the family court judicial system, especially in Thurston County, Washington, needs a deep dive investigation done. It's a complete racket. The people that are sitting on the bench and people that are practicing law in that county are downright criminals. They're all criminals. They should be held accountable to the highest extents of the law. But the thing is, there's laws written in to protect them, and people need to realize that. How are you not serving the people that you're supposed to be giving a service to, and you're getting paid for it, and you're setting your own pay, and you're just extorting them for everything that they have? You have no justification. Like in my case alone, I will tell you that I'm a father of 12 years. I'm an honorable discharged veteran, medically disabled, and I have done no wrong. I've never had any problems whatsoever in my entire military career. I've never even had UCMJ action. Okay. I was an MP, for God's sakes. And these people are literally trying to crucify me, villainize me, so they could take everything that I ever worked for in my entire life away from me. It is disturbing. Okay. if there's anything that you guys can do for me watching this video, go look up Robert Garza. Support his efforts on trying to make national movement towards equal parenting, okay, and changing the laws to where that judges, commissioners, attorneys are going to be held accountable. It needs to happen. This isn't like something that is an isolated event. It happens every single second of every single day-to-day business hour in every courtroom across our country. The bad thing is Thurston County is got this, like they literally, you call any county outside of Thurston County in Washington, they carry a reputation for being corrupt. And it's like, wait a minute, hello, U.S. senators. Hello, my governor of my state. Hello, the leaders of my country. Where have you been the last 50 years? Do you not realize, like, we got all these problems in America, but do you not realize that families are being extorted and destroyed? And the most damage is being done right underneath your guys' noses? Oh, wait a minute. Most of you used to be prior attorneys. That's why I think we should never hire an attorney. It's a problem. We should never sit here and be like, you know what? I'm going to vote in this guy because he has a law degree. He's smart. Yeah, he sure is smart. He's also corrupt and broken and knows how to manipulate the law. We have a problem big time. And it's not just the fraud that's been popping up in our country. It's been going on for 50 something years. The problem is like back at 50 years ago, these lawmakers and attorneys and so on and so forth, they actually had some moral thought behind it. But as the years ticked by, they realized more and more how much of a billion-dollar business it is. Instead of protecting the families that have put their lives, I've put my life. I'm a veteran of, being in Afghanistan. Okay, I put my life out there. Okay, these guys, majority of them, they've gotten nothing but gone to whatever school they went to for law school, and they've never had to deal with like real life situations. And some of them have worked nitty gritty, but when they get to a point and they're in that inner circle, they get corrupted. They realize like you either go with the flow and make a lot of money, or you get pushed out the door because all your cases are never going to win. All your cases are going to be, ripped apart pretty much, and they're gone. It's a really, really messed up system. You got commissioners who used to be attorneys in the same firms in the same county, and then commissioners who also practice law in the same county. In my example, okay, I had a commissioner who was also the attorney, the opposing attorney, who practiced law and sat on the bench in the same county. That's a conflict of interest. I shouldn't need to say that as a civilian, right? Looking for fair due process, the 14th Amendment. Okay, I shouldn't be doing that. You want more, even if you haven't gone through a divorce, even if you know your wife actually loves you and cares about you. You don't want people who are tearing apart families, destroying children, taking veterans, and taking away everything that they believed in, including their constitution. I can only speak for myself, but I believe in America, and I believe that I served my country honorably to uphold the Constitution and to lay it all out there for both foreign and domestic enemies of our country. So I will say this to you. A lot of people who might have gone through similar situations as I do, and the thing that I have on my side is I'm a God-fearing man. I love my Lord and Savior. Happy Easter, everybody, by the way. I'm a God-fearing man, and I will tell you this. Not everybody has the convictions I do. A lot of homeless veterans, I believe, have gone through the gambit of family court. A lot of people that have turned to drugs, alcohol, have probably gone through family court. People that have probably taken their lives have probably gone through family court. Now look at the statistical data of children separated by their parents. Over 50% are prone to either becoming criminals, suicidal, doing drugs. And that's proven fact data. But we're going to continue operating the way that we have, allowing people to take the livelihood of our veterans and our citizens of our country who have worked their tails off, be provided an injustice, and extorted for everything they ever worked for, and have the thing that they love the most, their family, ripped from them with no explanation other than because I said so. You ask why? They don't have time to hear your life story. They just have time to ruin your life, take everything from you. So if you guys wonder what LT is doing, LT is looking at every single leader of this country and going, I want answers. I want my children to not have gone through what they have gone through for 3 years. I want a justice system that places the Constitution above their own personal agendas, narratives, profit. I want a justice system that is held accountable when they don't do so. I don't think that's asking much. Because what happens to me when I don't follow SOPs or I don't do what I was told when I was in the military? I get an Article 15. I stand in front of my commander, or I stand in front of a board, or I stand in front of a judge, and I'm held accountable. Judges in family court, commissioners in family court, they are not held accountable. I interjected with child hearsay and I was shushed for a hearing that was supposed to set up trial time. And after I was shushed, I was slandered for approximately 15 minutes. When I tried to address that whole 15 minutes, I was told we are not here to discuss this. All these are examples of not what you would think to have a bias judge, not what you would expect to be able to have fair and undue process, not what you would expect for somebody that supposedly went to school for as long as they did. Everybody's human. Everybody makes mistakes. But there's a thing called patterns of behavior. And what do you do when those patterns of behavior go unchecked? Well, evil sets in. People start doing whatever they want to do. Three years without your kids, when you're a father, where every day of your life, you're engaged parent in their schoolwork and their after school activities and their religion. And on top of that, you're an MP. And you served your country honorably. and you have everything that you ever worked for in your time of service, by the way, you don't get paid as well as you would if you were working as a civilian. Pay is obsolete when you're serving your country. But to have what you did build for yourself and your family taken from you, from somebody that thinks they're better than you, or somebody that thinks because you're a man you should be punished, or thinks that because of your political party you should be punished, or thinks that you have money you don't deserve, or whatever their reasons for it are. It surely isn't trying to find justice. It's to find you as a guilty party and leave you with nothing but a broken heart and more traumatized mind than the day that your partner left you and took your kids. Anybody that looked into my case would know that it's a slam dunk. Premeditated kidnapping is what it was. And even the GAL, the first GAL, said anybody with a set of eyes and ears can see this for what it is and know what it is. That GAL didn't show up to court. And the second GAL didn't even take a statement, a phone call, or a text, or an email from me with a response. And it's not until now, where I don't even have a dollar to my name, that I continue the fight. Hey, Robin, how you doing, man? Yeah, no, absolutely. I just wanted people to know why I haven't been on streaming, Robin. I wanted people to know why I haven't been so active in our Discord or on gaming or any of that stuff. I've been so consumed, because that's the only word that I think hits, and any close description of what I've been going through for almost 3 years. I've been completely consumed by this trauma that is the family court system. And they wait until they take everything from you, so they have the ammunition to be like, well, you didn't do this. Well, maybe I could have done this if I had money in my pocket. You ever thought of that? Or maybe I could have done this if you would have kept, the attorney that siphoned off all my money. Make him accountable for his service. Oh, that's all good, man. How you been, Robin? No, it's only been serious because I got into that conversation. I got into the topic of explaining my absency. I feel like I owe that to everybody. Um, a lot of people know kind of what the people that have really been around know about it, but the thing is I think we get muzzled a lot. We're scared to speak out. We're told not to talk about these things. But what are you supposed to do when the people that are telling you not to talk about it are completely criminal, corrupt? I'm sorry, but I'm a soldier. I got that warrior spirit in me. When I see somebody doing bad things, and I'm not going to be a bystander. I'm not going to sit back and be like, "Oh yeah, yeah, you're right. I'm the bad guy. I should have gone, and done this, that, and the other." I don't think on any planet, we should have a judicial system where people aren't accountable for their actions because they have the most important job other than being the president of the United States in this country. You're literally overseeing families that are broken to make sure that justice is served. But instead of doing that, you're extorting as much money as you possibly can and making a profit. Disgusting. I think we can do better. And it's not just here in the United States, too. I see it in the UK, too. You guys over there in the UK get it, too. But, anyways, I digress. So, we'll leave it there. It's kind of like, uh, my fill-in for my absentee. I'm sorry for going so in depth and being so serious about it, but it needs to be said, I guess. Yes, it is. Yes, it is, Robin. It's a problem. We talk about like having equality, right? And still now in family court, it's like, wait a minute, I got a judge who is living back in like, the 1960s where women's rights weren't heard, making me pay for it. I'm sorry, I grew up like believing that everybody should have fair and equal rights. So why am I being punished as a man? I'm sorry, but aren't we talking about equality here? You know? Why are we doing child support when you got both parents wanting to be with their children and are able and capable of doing so? Oh yeah, that's right. So you can get a chunk of the pie that never was yours. You never went and put your life on the line. You never went and fired around. You never stood out in a full kit in 120-degree weather, but you deserve to take all my money, right? And charge me whatever you feel is necessary, right? $500 an email for the same email that I sent out asking the same exact question, and no checks and balances. People checking on these crooked ass attorneys. Oh, when we go into court? Oh, $500 right there. No response. Hey, I'm just checking in. Are we going to court? Another $500 there. Oh. Hey, do we have court today? Another $500 there. $1,500 there for the same exact question. That's how these attorneys operate. Did they answer the question? No. They need to? No. They just need to open it up and say that they reviewed it. Bunch of bullshit. Anyways. What FP is becoming though, guys? I know I got really serious there for a little bit. We're trying to shift from casual org into like our end goal is to become a professional, mission ready private military company. Okay, but we're still in the casual. Okay, we're trying to build that culture where we can add in our teamwork and reliability and maybe get some discipline going for those that want to be more strong of a role. Yeah, Robin, that's a good thing, man. There are some attorneys that will take a flat rate for their services. Sadly, in some states, it doesn't even matter, like New York State, Robin. Even if you get 50-50, the woman still can get paid child support. And very rarely does a man get supported. She has to be completely, and I hate to say it, like, this is how I see it in Washington. Women, let's put it this way. Even in Washington State, you're getting discriminated against because if the man has representation and that attorney is in that county and you're self-representing, yeah, you're gonna get screwed over just like the guy. Okay, that's how that works out, and that ain't fair. So it's not just a sex thing. All right. But statistically speaking, yes, more men are discriminated against. And in Thurston County, they discriminate against men, and particularly military men, which is disgusting. That's the capital of Washington. The county, of Thurston County is where the capital of Olympia. Olympia sits in Thurston County. Disgusting. I think we could do better. If that tells you about the politics in Washington. But I called every county outside of Thurston County, and it has a reputation. I talked to every single person that I possibly could. Senators' offices, okay, attorneys, all of them know about Thurston County. It's disgusting. Yeah, unfortunately, it only depends on the. I can't leave Washington State. I'm gonna try, honestly, in Washington to dismiss. I have grounds to dismiss. Okay, for a lot of reasons. One, there's clear bias. Okay. Two, my children, nor do I, are residents in that state. So there is grounds to dismiss. There's even more grounds that I can't go into. It gets even deeper than that. Like I'm telling you, all I need is somebody to like hear my story, and everybody's gonna be like, no way. You gone through this much. No way. Because one, I'm going to lay out all the evidence that's like clear as day from the start to the finish, that is undisputed evidence that is clear as day, that shows that my children were kidnapped and there was a premeditated plan that followed through with it. And anybody in their right mind would have seen it as that. There was a plan, even including getting protective services. There was a clear-cut plan. Like, I'm sorry, but the American Salvation Army, you don't do a thorough investigation. You don't talk to the other party. You just write a protective order. What the flip? Why is this allowed in our country? Why is this allowed anywhere? Like, there's a backdoor cheat code, like for you gamers right there. There's a backdoor cheat code where literally you're getting your life hacked away from you. And I'll tell you that my ex knows all the backdoor cheat codes, and she planned it out. It should be clear for anybody to be able to go, huh, that's interesting. Why did you go through that hoop? Why did you do that? Why did you do that? Why did you do that? Why did you text this? Why did you call here? Why does your bank statement have all this money siphoned off going here? Huh. But instead, I get 3 years without my kids, watch my kids be alienated, manipulated, coached, coerced, and their relationship is completely destroyed with their father. I'm now the bad guy. My children think that their grandparents are strangers. Their aunts, their cousins, their uncle, strangers. How do children get to that point where they think that? Maybe because one parent is making and forcing them to choose a family. And if you think if a parent is forcing children to choose which family they're going to love, you think that parent should be as a good parent, as a fit parent, as a capable parent? I mean, that's just let's just break that down. That's one example. If you go in and watch any of my videos that I had saved, if I could share those with you, of day one with my kids on Zoom, they don't go, Dad, what did you do? They go, Mom. Mom said so. That's clear-cut evidence. Clear-cut evidence. If you're somebody that rules on law, or you're a guardian ad litem and your job is child investigation, investigation being the key word there, and you don't ask for immediately removing the children from that parent, you failed the children, you failed at doing your job, and you failed by providing a service. And if you blatantly just disregard because you're overwhelmed with your workload at work, and you ask for 3 extensions in court, and you never follow up with the other parent, you're completely breaking the guidelines of your job, and you should be fired immediately and never allowed to work in that position again. And if your GALs are getting to the point where they have to have so many extensions, maybe there's a problem and you should hire another GAL. Because I'd rather my taxpayer dollars go to a highly qualified GAL, guardian ad litem, who has a background in criminal justice, who has a background in some kind of form of child therapy or child care or whatever the case might be. Preferably worked in a juvenile correctional facility. Yeah, and that shouldn't happen, Robin. We're talking about equality, right? And, going into any workplace now, you get this training about equality, but it doesn't apply to our laws. So you could be fired for it. Crazy. All right. Anyways, I keep keep going back to the court system. I'm telling you, it's just crazy and bizarre. I mean, just they need to do a deep dive and look at these people's like bank transitions. I guarantee they get a cut. What do you think that commissioner, that judge is doing when they know that somebody's about to lose their house? You don't think they're calling a real estate agent going, "Hey, this guy's going to have to go bankrupt and foreclosed on his house and you can get it for nothing because we're not letting him sell it." When a judge has that much power over a citizen of this country and your Fifth Amendment right of property, I'm just saying, look into it. What are we doing? Oh yeah, this is on a state levels. You state commissioner and judges are exempt from the Constitution. Is that how that works? Is that how that works, citizens of America? Is that how that works? It's just guidelines, the Constitution. It's just guidelines. No big deal. No big deal. No big deal. Crazy. Exactly, Robin. That's what I'm saying. It's pretty bad when the GAL knows the attorneys, knows the judges, knows everybody. I'm sorry, but if you're a guardian ad litem, you should be a sole and separate entity. And if you had any interactions with the judge and commissioner other than showing up to court and giving your report, there is a problem. It's called having a bias. Plain and simple. You don't think a GAL that works in the same courthouse doesn't stop and talk to some of these people that are practicing law? there is a problem. Your Fifth Amendment, right? Yeah, no, I hear you. But unfortunately, New York's a blue state too, but it doesn't matter, right? There's good and bad people in all walks of life. The county itself could be in a red county. Like if you look at Washington, the blue counties are Thurston County, King County. Everywhere else, red. There's a problem in Washington state, period. But that's not my focal point, you know. My focal point is the fact of this family court system. And the point also is made that all the other counties know the reputation of Thurston County. All of them. Even the attorneys that practice law in that county prepare you. What do you expect? Well, you're not going to get that. Thurston County hates military men, particularly strong military men. 67 practices out of the 67, 47 warmed me up with that immediate statement. Just so you don't have high expectations. Forget about getting justice is like their slogan there. Forget about getting justice. Nobody, especially a veteran, should ever be exposed to a court system that operates and has a reputation like that. Every single one of the people that operate in that county should be disbarred. Their assets should be seized. And the people that are sitting as commissioner and judges and the people that oversee the board particularly, because the board is corrupt as all get up. I filed clear-cut malpractice from an attorney. She didn't pay the GEL. She didn't put in my emergency order for my children. Malpractice. There's no explanation for it. It's clear-cut malpractice. Undisputable. Did they disbar her? No. Give her a slap on the wrist? No. They said no malpractice was found. I sent evidence. The receipts were signed in the office. Guess what? Not only did I not have justice, but they put $6,000 a lien on my house. So what do you get for when you seek justice? You get punished more. And if they don't, if they get worried that they're going to get caught, they're probably going to put me in prison. They're probably going to throw me in prison. An honorably war veteran put in prison for fighting for his kids for 3 years. Just asking, why are you doing this to me? All I want is fair and undue process. How can I have that when he took all my resources to be able to provide for myself and seek justice? Guess what? It costs $25 every time I submit anything to the court, $75 for filing. It's insane. We live in a world where digital paperwork goes through. It doesn't cost anything. No, because it happened at the state level, the VA doesn't cover it. Yeah, it's crazy. The Fifth Amendment is supposed to, protect us from unfair prosecution. It's supposed to protect us from coercive interrogation. It's supposed to protect us from repeated trials, which I've gone to 5 over a DVI-3 assessment that never was supposed to be put needed, or it was never requested by the court. And it was addressed by the court 4 separate times. And the 5th time, now they want me to do a DVI-3 treatment with no history of violence in my background whatsoever. With that being addressed 4 separate times in court, proving that not only was the assessment not conducted and done correctly, but the answer key was misleading and misdirected. And I proved that. And then the court ordered me to get an updated evaluation, which I did from somebody that holds many degrees, who is the top of the VA in Seattle in mental health. And we went to a hearing, and the judge said I was sufficient and I did everything that it was required of me. And I thought that was that. And then they brought it back into court for a 5th time. And instead of being, held accountable, where the 5th Amendment is supposed to protect me, because this covers unfair legal process. No, I get ordered to go and try to get a program that costs like anywhere between $3 to $4 grand to complete after they strip me of all the money possible. Also, the 5th Amendment is supposed to cover unjust property seizure. Yeah. So these are all the things that I'm going to be going to civil court and the federal courts for. 431C, I believe, which is a lawsuit against civil rights violation. And I'm just adding it. The more that I go through this court procedure, the more that I'm going to continue to document all the evidence, the more I'm going to continue to do it. So that's what I'm doing now. And it's a long process. It's not an easy process. I actually talked to a guy at the VA. A psychologist referred me out, and he works in King County. And he gave me some contact numbers and some kind of like different things I can try to do to alleviate what they've done to me. So on top of that, Robin, I've been talking to a senator's office in Washington, and there's a guy that was actually in the same hearing I was in. He was kind of like the right-hand man to the senator, and he was going through a divorce. And he told me if he didn't have the push that he had, he would have been railroaded. He experienced the same discrimination. And see that right there? You have to have some kind of networking to be able to even find some kind of justice. That alone is like ringing the bell. This is a broke system. Anyways, but again, your 5th Amendment rights, folks, for people that don't know. All right, supposed to protect you, okay? For unfair prosecution, coercive interrogation, going to trial repeatedly, and unjust property seizures, which my house is an unjust property seizure if they decide to come for it. The fact that I can't sell it, unfair legal process, it definitely falls under that too. No, it will. I've talked to, like, believe it or not, Robin, I got a front row seat to some of the front runners that are trying to fight for reform in family court. And I've already been told it's a long road. It's a long road, but I'm going to because I don't want anybody. This is what I keep thinking about. All those homeless veterans, all those moms and dads that have had everything just gut wrenched, ripped away from them. And, I will tell you, if I didn't experience it for myself, I've been like, no way a justice system conducts itself the way that it has. No way. I'm talking about it out loud, and I probably sound like a crazy person to anybody that's never experienced it or done a lack of research in here. And I say to you, go look into what's going on in family courts, just family courts and YouTube, you know, and take a look. $1 billion business, $1 billion business, corrupt. Especially in Thurston County of Washington, there are judges and commissioners who are corrupt. They don't practice to give you your constitutional rights. They work to take everything that you ever had and make you feel like you're worthless. That's not a position of a judge or a commissioner. They're there to make sure that the best interests of the children are put in first. Taking away the livelihood, parents, isn't putting children first. Oh God. Hey Robin, I don't know if you're modded, but could you get rid of Chug? Like, when is it gonna stop with these bots, man? Can I mod you? Okay, you're good to go, sir. Okay, you're good to go, sir. I'm gonna mute that because I'm banning this guy. Well, it's not a ban on a guy, it's a bot, man. Stupid. Yeah, I gotta break away from talking about this, but I need to have like a separate, YouTube channel talking about Family Court, I think, and away from LT Adventures. I think I'm gonna build that up actually, because I want to be an advocate for people. You don't know how, like, when I first started this, I was like, I'll get justice in 6 months. Like, this is just insane that this happened, like, nuts. I'm like, anybody with any sense to them will see this for what it is. Like, 100% confident, 100% like across the board. All right. And I'm sorry to say, but nobody fights for their kids as hard as I have, unless they're, I don't know, really, really messed up, I guess. But if they're telling the truth, they're not going to let you take away the most, my children to me are the most important thing in my life, not my money, not my uh, um, position, not my reputation, not my children, my family. My family matter to me more than anything in this world. My kids matter to me more than anything in this world. I do have documents, but you know what? They've rescheduled the trial 3 times, and I've been stripped of all my money to be able to resubmit documents right now. I am in the red every month. I am even behind on child support because the amount that they requested from me, this is what happens. These are the fix all to family court. One, attorneys. Attorneys should not have access to all the money that you have in income right off the rip. The income and money that's coming in should be like the last thing at the end of the trial to be like, okay, are you fit and financially stable enough to care for your kids? When they're assessing who is getting the children, okay, whoever the primary residency is, the first thing, right, finances. Because if they would have done that to Gabby, they would have done that to her. They would have seen that she siphoned off and cleared out the bank account. She has all these possessions that were paid with credit cards in my name. They would have seen the fraud. They would have seen that she had a separate income coming in where she put her own money aside. And they'd have been like, that's interesting. Now, why is that after 2.5 years? Why did you do that 2 years ago? Start doing that. That doesn't seem like somebody who's fleeing for their life out of fear. You waited 2.5 years? Now, that seems like somebody who had an alternative mindset to take and rip somebody off and ruin them financially and leave them for dead. You're fleeing for your life. You ain't stacking money up and hiding it in another state. You're fleeing for your life. You're running with whatever you got on you and you're out. You don't have an apartment waiting for you fully loaded with a bunch of stuff and a brand new car. You don't have all your money in a separate account in that place wherever it was established. You don't have a lease already pre-signed 6 months back ago. You don't have all that. Anybody with 2 cents can put what happened to me together. And you sure the hell don't move back to the hometown where you grew up with this person, where you know that other person has hundreds of family members. You sure the hell don't move back to a place like that. Instead of like me being looked at and penciled in as a villain, maybe they should look at the real dangers of somebody that's capable of taking somebody who has been a great father, husband, who didn't even have access to his bank account for 12 years, who was told where to be, where to live, who has been physically assaulted in front of coworkers, friends of the family. Maybe they should pay attention instead of trying to make the victim the villain. But they're too busy trying to make me the villain and jumping through all their hoops. Go to do this, go do that, go do that. That an attorney who has no mental health background or medical background or anything like that pencil me in as a violent psychopath, and that's what took my kids away because of my PTSD that I've never had any violent outburst, no documented violent incidents whatsoever, nothing in my mental health records other than the fact that I suffer from sleep errors and I have social anxiety. I was discriminated against for being a service member. And mind you, this other attorney, he was prior service. And he did that with a smile and a grin on his face. No problem marrying me. What a good brother in arms. Wonder how many people, American people, families, he's destroyed. Oh, absolute emotional distress, Robin. Why do you think I'm on here talking publicly? Somebody that isn't under emotional distress wouldn't be speaking about this. My kids are with somebody that is a dangerous person. Unless you think somebody that is capable of having premeditated plans to financially ruin you, destroy your life, have your career destroyed with not even a single, he was an alcoholic. He was a woman beater. He was cheating on me. He was doing drugs. He was a degenerate gambler. He was never coming home. He was, nope, none of those. I was home all the time with my children. I was always active with my kids. And then go out to the bars and then do drugs and then gamble. My closest friends were my neighbors, who are also my godfather, the godfather and godmother of our children. And even they witnessed the abuse. And you guys, Robin, Wang, hello, Wang, you guys got to see it firsthand. My number one slogan, my number one slogan was family comes first. Every single person that ever joined FP, family first. My kids needed me. Yeah, maybe we were finishing up something, but as soon as we got done, they had my attention. My wife needed me. Yep. And if I didn't, you guys got to hear it over the mic. How equal, of treatment how respected I was in my household. I will tell you that it took almost these 3 years and to get down to Florida and be around family again, to feel something of some kind of life. Because I will tell you what that court did. They took away everything from me. They took away everything. Yep, absolutely spot on, Wang. Yep, absolutely, Robin. 110%, you know, and that's the thing too. Gabby's like, he's always gaming and streaming. You look at my hours of streaming, and then they don't even ask the real question, why was he streaming? Well, I had to build up something because she took all the money, and I wanted to give back to children and build charity events. Seattle Children's Hospital, I did Extra Life for what, 4 years? And I still want to do that when I get myself back together again. Still want to make good differences, you know. That goes into who I am, my character. But it's like if the court actually looked at stuff, but instead she, catchwords. Oh, he's a gamer, so immediately I get discriminated against. Nobody looks at the data of like how it helps veterans. Nobody looks at why people start streaming or what they get involved in. Nope, man, military gamer, got it. He's an unfit father. Can't care for his kids. Places gaming and military above his children. Yeah. You don't know me. You already said that you don't have time to hear my life story, but you have time to take my life away from me. Maybe if you actually looked at the evidence, you looked at some of my declarations, you read the words that I put on paper instead of just skimming through it and saying you did. Maybe if you took the time to calculate the money that you're taking away from me from the cost that you made me, forced me to pay, which was the house and paying for the medical and paying for spousal support and paying for child support. And maybe you would notice that I didn't have enough of an income to come in to even provide myself the basic necessities of food, water, electricity. Maybe you shouldn't put support money on somebody during a temporary ruling unless they clearly abandon the children. Like I said before, you can take a dart, throw it in a dark room. You're going to hit the dartboard of a problem that needs to be fixed in family court. There's a million and one things. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out family court is not something that protects families of America. It extorts them to the furthest extent. And the only reason a lot of court houses probably have God-fearing folks in them that actually try to uphold justice in their courthouse, but not in Thurston County. Thurston County, they're about making money and profiting off of broken families. They don't provide a service to the people that they're supposed to. They extort them. They leave them broken, damaged, beyond repair. And that way, when anybody looks at them, they can say, oh yeah, that guy ain't right. But if you looked probably at the beginning of their case in Thurston County, they're probably doing just fine. They're probably a fit parent. The process broke them. Anyways, I need to get up out of here, y'all. I know we were supposed to talk about the mission brief today. We're supposed to get in here and talk about everything. Um, Robin, Wang, thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate you guys. I do want to talk more. I'm sorry that I spent the time talking about family court. Like I said, I need to start a separate channel. And I think I will do that, but I want to talk more about like us gearing up towards recruitment more and then implementing. We need some more people that know how to operate our SRS, our tactical radios. We need to be able to, have people on the same ship, on the same comms channel, be able to talk with other people on another ship on the same comms channel and SRS. So then there isn't cross talking and all that good stuff, and we keep things kind of squared away. But I am loving the updates that keep rolling out for Star Citizen. We're getting closer and closer to a pretty good active game. I have to say I'm pretty impressed with everything that's going on. But yeah, I appreciate you guys. I'm sorry that this was just me explaining why I have been absent. That's what we should have labeled this whole entire stream. I guess it's part of the brief because we're going to continue to do our Sunday brief. I'm going to try to continue, be adamant about it. I know I wasn't on time today. I need to be on time for these things, but I'm going to try to be more on top of it. Once I get done, this is the thing. Once I get done with the ruling, maybe the fight won't end there. Maybe I can finally go and seek justice in federal court. I'm actually scared to, a federal court is just gone too. I mean, I hate to say it, but I don't think so. I think now is the time to get corrupted systems underneath the microscope. It's time to start beating the drum together and stop thinking that we're alone. We need to get loud. We need to make our voices heard. This country was founded on overthrowing a tyrant of government. We threw frickin' tea because we were getting taxation without representation. Where's the representation in family court? Where is it? Are we making sure that these attorneys have their second home and can go to Mexico 4 times out of the year and, take everything we worked for and spend it amongst themselves? Did we work our life, sacrifice put our lives on the line for a constitution that doesn't exist apparently in family court? Is that what we're doing? I didn't know that. I didn't know when I signed my contract and I swore an oath to this country that meant that I wasn't going to be considered a father. I didn't know that. I didn't see that in my oath. I swear I didn't. Somebody please correct me if it's in there somewhere. Hey, Kinetic. Happy Easter to you. Happy Easter. No. Yeah, I'm getting out though. Thanks for popping in, brother. I appreciate you. I want to game with you sometime soon. Much love to the family. Playing much love to you and Robin. And yeah, I appreciate you guys. I miss you guys. I do. We'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for tuning in. I really do appreciate the support. Please, if you're on YouTube, click the subscribe button, thumbs up, all that good stuff.